So thanks for joining myself, Bobbie Jackson and Chris Rivers. Today we're going to be looking ahead to the 2019-20 Premier League season, and we've got a few different markets that we're going to be looking to bring you a bit of value from. We'll be taking a glance at the outright Premier League winner, also the battle for top four, top goal scorer in the Premier League, the top London club, top Northwest club, and we'll also be looking at the relegation battle. So we begin then with the outright market, and that is really a two-horse race. I think most would agree. When you look at last season, Manchester City and Liverpool streets ahead of everyone else in the Premier League. Liverpool finishing second, but I do fancy them this season, just with that extra added incentive of trying to win the league for the first time. They got the Champions League last season. I think at 5-2, Liverpool look at a pretty decent bet to me to go all the way this season.
Yeah, you talk about value. They're the only side that offer any value in this two-horse title race, as it looks like it's going to be City 6-4 on. Of course, the champions from last season, looking to make it 3 in a row. I find it difficult to look past Manchester City. I have to say they've strengthened with the signing of Rodri. They just finished ahead of Liverpool, and the fact that Liverpool haven't really made any major additions makes it tough for me to see the Reds overhauling them this season. Looking at the Premier League top goal scorer market next, and this was a prize shared between 3 players last season, Aubameyang, Mo Salah and Sadio Mane having to split the prize. This time around I'm going for Manchester City's Sergio Aguero, who's only 1 goal behind that trio last season. Firmly established himself as Pep Guardiola's #1 striker ahead of Gabriel Jesus last term. I think he'll kick on this time around. He always gets over 20 goals in the Premier League, and at 6-1 seems like a good price. That is a bigger price than Harry Kane, for example. What about you, Bobbie? Who have you picked out?
I picked out Aubameyang, one of those players you mentioned, joint leading scorer last season. He's 9-1 and a player that is often amongst the goals at Dortmund. He scored more goals with each season that went by, and I think that's going to be the case with Arsenal as well. I think he'll better his haul of 22 this time around, and I fancy him to be the leading candidate come the end of the season. I've also looked at a double as well. Liverpool to win the title, Aubameyang to be top goal scorer at 25-1. I think that's an absolutely huge price for those two bets to come in. So let's take a look at the relegation battle then. Often difficult to pick the sides that are going to be going down. A lot of it might depend on transfers and dealings between now and the end of the window. But I think newly promoted Sheffield United at 10-13 look a good bit of value there. I don't think they've added enough to their squad. I've looked at an outside bet as well, and that's Bournemouth. I think they're heavily reliant on 1 or 2 players. Should they get injuries to the likes of Wilson, Fraser, maybe even lose them to transfers this summer, 5-1 to go down Bournemouth. They're not a side that are immune from suffering the drop.
No, I've looked at a couple of different sides from the 2 that you picked out there. Another newly promoted side, my favourites to go down in Norwich, 11-10 for them to go down. I don't think they're spending enough money. It was a real surprise they got promoted last season. I think they'll struggle at the Premier League level. In terms of an outsider to go down, well, you've got Newcastle at 11-4. I think we both like that price, given all the chaos at St James's Park. But I've also gone with Crystal Palace at 6-1. I think if Wilfried Zaha leaves, that price will definitely be cut, and they've still got no striker up front from me. Where are the goals going to come from for Palace this season? Top 4 betting next, and it's more than likely that 2 of the positions are going to be filled by Manchester City and Liverpool. I also strongly fancy Tottenham to be in the mix as well. They're odds on for a top 4 finish. So if you're looking for a bit of value, the other side, part of the big 6 that we've got in the Premier League, Manchester United 15-13 to bounce back and finish in the top 4. Arsenal 17-10. I like both of those 2 ahead of Chelsea, but I know you see it differently, Bobbie.
Yeah, I really fancy Chelsea. I know they've had issues not being able to bring players in this summer, but I think that works in Lampard's favour. They look a good bet for me at 11-8 to finish in the top 4. They finished 3rd last season, let's not forget. They got ahead of Tottenham in the end. The fact that he's got his squad, he knows that he doesn't have other players that he's trying to get in, and how his shape of things is going to look come the start of the season is how it is now. I think that benefits Chelsea, so I fancy them to get into the top 4 once again. I'm
sticking with Manchester United. If I'm picking one of the 2 sides I suggested, I think they will be the team to beat in terms of that finishing 4th this season.
We take a look at the market then concerning top London club in the Premier League come the end of the season. Usual contenders are going to be in the mix, of course, Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal. I think we can pretty much rule out the likes of Crystal Palace and Watford. Don't expect them to crash the party. I'm going to lean towards Chelsea. The West Londoners finished 3rd last season, were the top London club in the division, so I'm not exactly putting my neck on the line, but at 21-10, I think there's a good bit of value there for the Blues. New manager in, haven't been able to sign players, but I think that Lampard's going to be able to get a good tune out of this squad.
Yeah, I think similar to you, Bobbie, but I'm going to go for Tottenham just because of the instability at Chelsea and at Arsenal. Don't know what's going to happen next at Arsenal. As you say, Chelsea unable to add. They've lost Eden Hazard. Spurs at 5-4 to be the top London club for me is the bet. They've not lost any of their star players. They've added a quality midfielder in Ndombele. I think they might add a few more players before the season kicks off. And Maurizio Pochettino has already proven what a good manager he is. Took them to the Champions League final and secured top four football last season. I think they are the side to beat in the capital this year. Top Northwest club next, and looking at the betting, Manchester City are the 1-2 favourites as you would expect. Liverpool, Manchester United and Everton also in this market. And I think both of us find it difficult to look beyond our picks for the title. I went for Manchester City, and as I say, I think it's very tough to see another side in the Northwest finishing ahead of them this season. Obviously, you feel differently with Liverpool though, Bobbie.
Yeah, I think there wasn't much between the two sides last term, was there? For me, I'm going for the value. It's Liverpool at 7-4 to be the top Northwest side, as you mentioned. At the start of the piece there, I don't think we can really consider Manchester United. Too many issues.
Difficult.
Everton are improving, but not quite good enough to be challenging with Liverpool or Manchester City. And it was such fine margins last season, so it's the type of market I think can be quite attractive just to look for that little bit more value and hope that Liverpool can do the business this season. So that's it then from myself and Chris. We've taken you through our picks for the Premier League markets looking towards the 2019-20 season. Thanks once again for joining us. Do follow us on social media as well. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section and hit that subscribe button on YouTube.